Hey, what's up? Wait, let me get my thing going. Ooh.
Hey Maor, is that the right
What's
way to
up?
say your name?
It's a hard name to pronounce, huh? It's Maor, M-A-O-R,
Ma
Maor.
Maor. Okay, I,
Yes.
I I got the pronunciation from Matt Martirano, our mutual friend.
How are
So
you?
I'm doing great. This is the Cash from Connections podcast. I'm John Caprani with my guest today, Mr. Maor Benaim. Is that correct?
That's as close as it gets, I think.
Okay, apologies, I'm Irish. And Maor is one of the top guys in affiliate marketing and travels all over the world, attends a lot of conferences, and makes a hell of a lot of money for his clients and everybody around him. So I'm very pleased to have you here today. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you for having me.
First off, maybe you'd like to give us a little synopsis of who you are, what you do, and kind of, a little bit about your career background.
Yeah, always like when people ask me that question, family members or friends or even people from the industry, it's always such a diverse type of answer because I don't know how long it needs to be or how short. And I don't think, the women I dated definitely don't know what I'm doing for sure. I don't believe my mother knows what I'm doing.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I started with digital marketing 14 years ago. Dude, I'm old. Wow, I can't believe I'm even saying that. And throughout the last 14 years, I've been kind of like everywhere in terms of the different spots that the industry has to offer. So I've been doing some agency stuff. I've been doing lots of affiliate stuff. I've been doing some stuff of my own, meaning my own brands. So touching e-com, lead gen. Um, and, I started as a media buyer back then. And I think that by now, I hate when people say, I'm a businessman or I'm an entrepreneur, but
Hmm.
because it's such a wide definition of doing something. But yeah, definitely that's what I do now. I'm a deal maker. I'm very good at making sure that I provide maximum value to the people I work with, and I try and take as much, stake at what I do. So I'm not in love with the affiliate or agency model just because lots of times there's different types of um, you know just like the model that I usually work with is more aligned in terms of the interest of both the media buyer or affiliate and the client or the person that I work with at the end of the day. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of an issue, I think, for some people is that with both affiliate and agency model, there's not always an alignment of an incentive. I mean, for a lot of agencies, they want that big retainer fee up front, and whether you get performance or not, they don't care if you churn in 6 months.
Correct. And I feel like, what's funny, I feel like, you go to a conference, you mentioned I go to lots of conferences. I really like studying how people act and how people think, and I'm really into that. So the funny thing is that it's always kind of like a circle. Affiliates, they're into building their own brand.
Hmm.
People with their own brand, they want to be an agency. And agencies look at affiliates and they say, wow, that's amazing. So it's kind of like a circle where no one is winning. It's taking the grass is always greener on the other side to a whole nother level.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is kind of true of everything in life, from personal relationships to business. You always think somebody else has it easier, right? You always,
To be honest, and I
yeah,
don't want to sound cheesy, you've been in a relationship longer than I do because I can see the daddy pictures and paintings you have in the back.
yeah.
So you know more than me for sure, but I can tell you that with romantic relationships, for example, I'm definitely not seeing that the grass is greener on the other side. That's a complete opposite, to be honest.
Oh, good. Okay. I mean, look, when it comes to when you get a bit further down the road to being married and then to having children, it gets to a point that your investment is so deep that even if the grass was greener, you still wouldn't want to go there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can understand what you mean, but going back to what I said, just experiencing the single life outside,
Hmm.
wanting to get into a relationship and seeing what's going on in the last 5, 6, 7 years with all of the dating apps and what they did to women and men, I do not see a better option, to be honest. So,
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I met my wife in just around Christmas 2012, and that was like dating apps and Instagram were kind of a thing then, but I had just recently gotten my first smartphone, like because I wasn't really that interested in technology. I was in construction, not marketing at that time. And when I met my wife, I met her in Fiji, which is a little island, so that they were like 3 to 5 years behind in technology anyway. And we just met each other at like a company social. I went out with my boss. One of his buddies brought his wife, and the wife brought the girlfriend, and the girlfriend ended up being my wife later. Um, and that was cool, but then everybody now meets on dating apps. And I talk to some of my friends who are younger and they say how hard it is, how stressful. And I even talk to some friends my own age and older who've gone through divorce and trying to start again and doing the dating apps. And they all say, so stressful, no good.
yeah, I feel like we took whatever processes, politically or romantically or even with friendships, we took whatever processes we had as a community as just like, the human race. And we accelerated it with steroids using these algorithms with, social networks. And we basically gave those companies were driven by economics and they're driven by profits. We've
Mhm.
given them the control over our main points of interest in life, big parts of life.
Yeah, it's an interesting take I read on this recently was somebody, and I wish I could remember who, talking about how even for the dating apps, I mean, if you think about it logically, they'd rather you have a bunch of failed relationships than one successful
Oh yeah,
relationship.
definitely. So what happens now? First of all, I don't know if you know, but they've gotten a few lawsuits
Hmm.
lately. And I don't think you know how I met my current fiance, but
No.
I have a video about that in my YouTube channel. But basically, I used digital marketing. So what I did is I created a pre-lender, an advertorial, and I ran traffic to it, and I got on dates,
Brilliant. I
believe
love
it or
it.
not.
I love it. I've seen stories about people doing that before quite successfully. So,
No, yeah. So I feel like, those dating apps, first of all, yeah, we talked about different interests and stuff. So they completely do not have your better interest in mind. It's a complete opposite direction. They want you to stay as long as you can, pay if you can for as long as you can.
hmm.
And you want to get out of there as quick as you can from every micro conversation into just go deleting the app in general. So it's the
Hmm.
only app that you want to delete while they're kind of like selling you something that is their in not in their own best interest. So it's a weird situation. So yeah, but you get a lot more dates, and a lot more failures and a lot less of a percentage of wins potentially. But
Hmm.
that's one thing that technically happens. What really happens, and there's a few academic studies on that. Um, Not, what happens is that 90% of men who do not look like the top 10 culturally, what's accepted,
Hmm.
they're left in a complete void. So what happens is they sit around with their, fellow mates, friends of theirs. They drink like a beer or something, and everyone says, "Oh my God, I have like 100 likes. I have 400 likes. I went on 4 dates last week. I'm going on 2 more. I don't know what to do with these women." And they're actually opening up the app in a complete void. I was joking about it because that's what I do when a bad situation happens. And I was saying, dude, when I want to see the animation that happens inside the app of it's a match or you found a match, I need to go on YouTube and see how it looks because I do not get on any matches on these apps.
Hmm.
So that's what it did. It basically opened the door for the top 10%. They're definitely going on a lot more dates. They have a lot more options. And 90% of men who look less than the top 10 are having a lot more trouble because basically, why would a woman settle for someone less when they can get more? And, that's completely logical. Lots of men are like really developing an antagonism or something like that towards those apps. But essentially, you know, if I would offer you two cars for the same price, a Bentley or a Honda, you wouldn't choose the Honda. You know what I mean?
Okay, I hear what you're saying. I feel very lucky that I was able to meet my partner organically and accidentally. And when I look back on it now and I think about it all, I just don't even know how I managed to, find a good woman, get married, raise a family and really just on a roll of the dice. Like there was no good reason for it to happen. So
You
I'm
need a lot of luck. The
a
stars
lot of
do
luck.
need to align. You know, I was renovating my new place. I bought it 2 years ago, I think, something like that, and I renovated it for almost 6 months. And
Hmm.
during the renovation, I was facing the big question, you know, how many rooms do I keep? Because if I'm planning on staying single, I don't need that many rooms.
Yes.
I can, you know, have a very big living room, very big bedroom if I don't need that. And the true question that was lying underneath it all was, do I truly believe that I'm going to get into and stay in a relationship? You know what I mean? That was the
Yes.
true the true question. It was a very expensive renovation, so it was a lot at stake.
So you went and ran your own funnel, and there's a classic sales letter I'm thinking of right now, which is the one Gary Halbert ran in the 80s to find a girlfriend for himself. Have you ever read that particular sales letter?
No, no.
I'll
What I
share it
did
with you
was,
after the call. It's very
yeah, I need to
politically
see
incorrect.
it.
You could never run it today. But how did you do it? Tell us a little bit
So
about
yeah,
that.
I
How did
did
you?
it. I had a couple of rounds. So first round was when Instagram opened up their PPC, the paid advertising back then. I was
Hmm.
just promoting a post engagement post, and it worked amazing. I didn't even spend $100. I was, you know, going on dates the same day. That was amazing back then. And I wish I continued, but this round, what I did, I just really approached this as a mission. You know, I told myself, listen, you have gained a lot of success in this industry. You've done a lot, but if you do not create a project with a specific mission in mind, you're never going to get married. This is it. You're going to be 40, 45, trying to hook up with 20, 25s. You're going to be desperate. I'm not doing this, you know, and I've seen men do that. So that
Yes.
wasn't an option. I basically sat down and listed some, like, basically built a business plan for this. So everything in between, um, going on PR stuff, you know, making sure that the university I went to creates a post about me, up to going on a reality show like Big Brother. And I actually went on an audition, which was crazy. So I created a very large spectrum. I found this amazing copywriter that writes for TV, just like comic stuff, you know, the equivalent of the Israeli SNL. And then
Yeah.
I did a professional photo shoot and went to the second largest news website. And they have a weekly bachelor segment. I created, you know, the advertorial that was really refined by that person and stuff. And it was mostly me and a friend who wrote it, but she kind of like added a few jokes and stuff. And then at the end of it, we had links to my Instagram and Facebook. And then I went out of all traffic sources, believe it or not, I decided to go with Taboola, and I
Okay. Native
created a
ads.
white list of publishers that were not, you know, sports websites, just like news websites and stuff like that. And I started promoting it. And I had so many dates, John, you wouldn't believe it. I think I had over what I actually have a presentation about it, but if I remember the numbers correctly, I had over 1,000 messages, hundreds of phone calls, and tens of dates that I went to at the end. I did one day I even went on like 3 different dates. I couldn't remember their names, to be honest. I really enjoyed the dates, to be honest, because I'm a good date. I like talking. I like, you know, making people laugh. Some of the stuff was completely weird. But yeah, then actually, so the way that I finally met her wasn't through the advertorial directly, which is also a very good case study and lesson for us who do digital marketing, because what happened is that it came from the organic residual traffic, if you will. So I went on a conference that was just like something that had to do with investing or
Hmm.
investments. And a guy approached me at the bar and he told me, I think I know you from somewhere. And we tried, you know, cracking well, maybe from the gym, from here, from there. And he said, no, he went, he came back and he said, oh, that article, I read the article about you. He ended up adding me on Instagram the day after and telling me that he has a colleague that he wants to introduce
Amazing.
to me.
Amazing. And that ended up being your partner now.
Yeah, yeah. And I proposed on Affiliate World Dubai in February 2024. And the rest is history.
Amazing. That's so
Yeah.
cool. So he actually sort of said in his head, hey, I know somebody who'd be a great match for you.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that they're not that close of a friends. That he
Hmm.
just had a feeling connected between us. When it happens like it happened to you, that's amazing because it filters out a lot. You already know that the person is not nuts. You already know, that they're close to the same circles as you. They
Hmm.
know that you're not gonna mess around with someone who is a friend of your best friend or something like that. So that filters out a lot of the stuff. They trust you more right out of the gate and stuff like that. When you meet someone online, it's completely anonymous. So
Hmm. But it's nice that there's that little bit of serendipity at the end where it's not just directly somebody filling in the funnel. It's actually there's that little extra human connection in between that makes it feel special.
correct, correct. And also comparing it to what we do, I did a second version. So I didn't really want to do it, but I had an agreement with the architect that designed this apartment, which is an amazing apartment. I'll show you, by the way, one day.
Okay.
And the agreement said that he's able basically to take professional photos of this and post it on like websites and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
the only way that he could have, because there are lots of architects and designers that want to show off their projects and work, the only way that he was able to do it was during Valentine's, which is funny because it was really before, just a second before I proposed. And the article was that I designed this amazing apartment and I'm single, basically, and I
Hmm.
wasn't single. So I had to prepare her and tell her, listen, this is gonna happen. And you would be amazed what kind of like different traffic I got. Once it wasn't direct. So the first article was very direct. It was like, I'm single and I'm looking for. The second one was like, look, I designed this amazing home, and it was kind of like in the background noise. I'm single also, and
Hmm.
I designed it for a single, guy, potentially a family. I'm looking for something, and the different types of people that came was really astonishing. It's a different traffic source. The first type of people were definitely completely more desperate. I'm gonna be blunt about it.
Okay.
Um, Lower quality in general, even physically on the outside, on the appearance side. And then the second type was some would say gold diggers. I don't think they're gold diggers by definition because the apartment is very expensive. But they're more of a higher quality. You would say they would have more demand out there.
Okay, sure. What a good thing. And the whole way through the process, were you like upfront, like, I'm looking for marriage. I'm not just some playboy.
Oh yeah,
I'm looking to
definitely.
find someone who potentially I can create a family with.
Yeah, definitely. No, I was very, very direct about this. And I
Hmm.
think I've been direct about it throughout my life. I was never the type of guy that looks for like adventures and stuff like that, to be honest.
Okay. That's so cool, man. Okay. And yeah, and you're on the way to getting married now, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah. And I've always been very committed. If I had like Android, I'm keeping with Android. If I'm driving an Audi, I have Audis. I've never been the type of guy. I'm like if there is a brand or something that I like, I stay and I stay with it.
Okay. Okay.
Comparing brands to relationships and women.
No, no, it's okay. It's okay. Look, hey, the same psychological phenomena tend to reappear in all aspects of life, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that and this appears in many ways in my book. I talk about um my book goes towards my stories and also in general tips on how I learned to choose the correct partner and make sure that you make good decisions based on different kinds of people. So and I've actually started writing my second book, but
Do you have
something
a
I
copy
learned
of the book to hold up and show everybody?
I have a copy. It's not in this room, to be
No
honest, which is
problem, no
funny. It's in
problem.
my, yeah, I'll grab a copy in a second.
I'll put the link in the video description.
Okay, perfect. So the book is called Unleash Your Inner Wolf, and it's everything I learned from lots of therapy, and lots of personal development stuff that I've done. And what I learned is that, you know, Tony Robbins has one version of it, which says people who like people who like them. Okay.
Yes.
I'm taking it to a deeper level. And basically, what I'm saying is that one, when you talk to someone, everybody is a different country. You know, right now I'm visiting with you in your country, which you have, you know, your culture, your way of thinking and talking and everything, your holidays and language and whatever. And and every time we talk, we work on strengthening the bridges that connect between the countries, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And what I learned is that you can get a lot of information by looking at um, whom someone hangs around with. So if you see someone hangs around with people who, for example, are doing some scams or like hustlers or cheaters or cheating on their wives or something like that, that tells you a lot about that person. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it logically, if that person is able to cheat on his wife and the mother of his kids, what are you to him? You know, at the
Nothing.
end of
Of
the day.
course, nothing at all.
Um, so just an example.
You have a nickname, the Wolf, and
Yes.
hence the title of your book. How did you get that nickname?
So the nickname basically came around the time that the movie came out. I don't think that I thought about it very thoroughly when I chose it. I just connected with it, so it was kind of like a love in first sight, but it very much aligns with the way that I do business. So right now I have several different businesses and I have large teams inside of each business, but I'm also a lone wolf. It's interesting. So I have, for example, my arbitrage company, which we do search and content arbitrage. I have a partner. We have a big team around us. But at the end of the day, the structure is always like I meet someone, I believe in him as a person, we build something, I stay for as long as the business needs, help with whatever I can. And then once the business really stands on its own 2 feet, then I move on. I still keep, you know, the maintenance and whatever I need with that business, but then I move on. And that allows me to scale horizontally, if you will. So that's why I have 3 fitness centers at the moment, and I have a supplement manufacturing facility, and I have a few brands of my own in e-com and the arbitrage stuff. So and clients that I manage through my agencies. So it's very diversified in a way that allows me to scale.
So it sounds like you come into a business, you're going to give it that initial like startup push to get to a certain point, and then you want to install a team to manage and step back from being active
Yeah,
in that day to
so
day.
it's very on a project to project basis. So sometimes I would meet you at a conference. I'd say, "Oh my God, you're an amazing coder. You're an amazing copywriter. You're very good with payment processing. You're very good with funnel building, whatever. I have this idea, or let's do something together." Sometimes there is no basis, there is no idea. And we come up with something. It could be an offer on ClickBank. It could be a physical product. It could be a digital product, whatever. We work around building it. Everyone puts their resources. Once it gets up, you know, then whatever maintenance it needs. But basically, I am trying to move on to the next thing that I get up. As long as I don't feel like, you know, I'm completely flooded with whatever I'm doing, which happens sometimes. But I'm a person that really, you know, the way I solved my main problem, which is a lack of patience, is by making sure that I'm always working. You know, one of the biggest things that took me a lot of time to learn was that not everyone has the same drive or aspirations as me. You know, some
Mm-hmm.
people are good with, you know, working at Pizza Hut. You know what I mean? And that's
Yes.
okay. And that's not something that I need to judge. But if I'm gonna invest in that person, then I need to know upfront that this person's aspiration or drive or maximum, you know, vision in life, goal, is to work at Pizza Hut, which is okay as long as I'm, you know, approaching other people as well, and it's not a Catholic wedding where I am very much, you know,
Yeah, well, you're in it
grind
to
down.
in it to death, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But like if you're involved in multiple companies, multiple projects on the go, I mean, that can become an overwhelming organizational nightmare and very stressful.
Um,
So how do you manage it all? Do you have a good assistant?
I do not. I do not have a good assistant. I'm very fast and very efficient. I don't do first of all, I try not do any meetings or Zooms and stuff like that. Just, if someone wants to tell me something, either send it to me in a message, record a loom. So I optimize my time very good. That's one. Two, I wake up extremely early, extremely, sometimes 5, sometimes 4. Sometimes I work in the middle of the night and then I come back in the morning and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And three, I am very efficient. So I have very good, just like a methodology that I've been fine tuning and refining throughout the years. So I know exactly what I need to do each day. So that leaves me a lot of free time, to be honest.
What are your daily non-negotiables, the things that you must do each day to actually feel like
It
you're making
changes
progress?
between each day. So what I do is before at the evening of each day, I would have a list. I have a pen and a paper,
Mm-hmm.
very, very old school, and I would
Yes.
write a list of what I need to do in general, stuff. And that list is usually divided in between stuff that's only up to me or stuff that I'm either waiting on someone or is 90% up to me, if I'm waiting on a call from someone, stuff that could be delayed or moved or changed. Okay, so
Okay.
the first things that I would do is the stuff that has to do only with me. And the main thing that I keep in mind is that 95% of the times stuff is gonna either break or go wrong or get added. So I make sure that I do not stretch it. I feel like most people, what they do is they have 2 3 tasks left, and then they're just like, watching YouTube, watching some Instagram reels and stuff, and they're delaying it and delaying it. And then what happens is that they're pushing the task into another day, for example, and they have on that specific day lots of stuff, and that task gets delayed and stuff like that. So for me, I just try and answer very quickly. So that's that. And then if I have like messages from people and stuff like that, I try and answer in a concentrated way. So every hour, every 4 hours, I would go on Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp, and I would just answer everyone. Um, and that's that.
Cool. You are also well known as a kind of like what's the word, a keynote speaker at a lot of conferences. How did you get into the conference world? And do you remember your first?
Yeah, and I just got this amazing award, the Affiliate Hall of Fame, which is very heavy.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Very
yeah, that was
cool.
very exciting, and this was a lot for me because affiliate world for me is the biggest one. So what happened? I think it was 2017 or 2018. I met up with a friend of mine, James Van Alswyk, and he told me he was a speaker back then already. He told me, yeah, they are looking for new speakers, and I was thinking of you, and I was like, it was something that I never thought that I would do, but kind of like wanting to do that throughout time, because I like stages, but I was also very frightened. But I don't know. So the first time I went on stage was Affiliate World Barcelona, but before that I did Geek Out Barcelona. So I did like two birds on the same trip. And that was a very, very nice experience. And then strategically, I was thinking about that, and again in my book I talk about how I come from the poker world, and I really like to just compare the two worlds of digital marketing and poker. And with poker, what happened after the Texas Hold'em boom that
Hmm.
happened a few years back
I
is
remember.
that the people who got famous at the beginning started making lots of money from endorsements. So I was thinking, okay, that's a very big bonus, but also I also understood that when you go and become famous by having a very good podcast, writing a book, or going on stages, you kind of like have two ways of monetizing, or two categories of that allow you to monetize celebrity status or traffic that you get. One is what I think is a bit shady, if you will, or even scammy. And that's creating, courses and starting to basically sell people who want the same lifestyle as you have, dreams, and telling them, just like the passive income. You sit around in Mexico, you drink a coconut, money flows into your bank account, all of that garbage.
Yes.
And those people don't understand that what they do is they attract stupid people around them, and they get the smarter people to back off from them and get away from them. And the other way would be basically monetizing that by maintaining free content, because I think that knowledge is always it needs to be free. I don't believe in those types of stuff. And making sure that you create money by helping people. So for example, on some of my projects, it's not something that I even advertise, but if someone approaches me and tells me, hey, I'm looking for a job, do you need any help? Then at the very least, I would try and, just like introduce them to someone that I know that is looking, for example, for media buyers. Or if I have a project that I'm using affiliates for, then I would try and, put them into that. So, and sometimes I'm even funding their campaigns and taking all of the risk myself. So if they lose, I lose, and if they win, we both win. So that's a creative way of monetizing, the fact that because it's very hard. I'm doing ad leaks as on the advisory board, and I'm doing STM as a mode, and I have my YouTube channel, and it's very hard to keep obsessing, but not only obsessing, just like keep on creating content. It's so hard. I've had over 100 videos on my YouTube channel, and I keep answering people on forums and Facebook groups, and sometimes you see someone who's just like doing it for a few months, but their headlines is I generated $10,000 one day, and you can too, and stuff like that. And of course, he's gonna get more video views and watches, and because the algorithm is gonna favor that clickbaity type of headline. But at the end of the day, it's completely hollow. It has nothing inside of it, so it's very hard.
You built up your success, the core of it, on your skills with traffic and being able like to manage and run large amounts of traffic profitably. At this stage in your career now, are you still active in the actual mechanical side of running
Definitely.
traffic?
Yeah, definitely. There is not a single day where I'm not managing, setting up campaigns, optimizing them on multiple levels. Um, so when there's a big project that has big potential, then I personally work on that. It's always been my passion. I don't know why. I still enjoy it. I just really I don't think that you can do something for 14 years if you don't like it. It's going to be really huge suffering just to go through it, I think.
For somebody who's relatively early on and maybe is just starting to do their first experiments with spending money on running advertising, what's your kind of high level advice for them on how to really improve?
I hope that doesn't sound cheesy, but I really believe I go on these consultation calls a few times a week, and a big portion of my book talks about where do I start. I have a big chapter about that, but 99% of calls that start from, hey, I'm looking to scale my campaign, or hey, I'm looking to reduce my CPAs, they go into a mindset level. If you don't prepare the ground correctly, and you don't, even if you're planning on learning, even if you're not planning on technically setting up a campaign and launching, the first thing that you have to do is work on all of the mental part. Is such a big thing. You're 100% going to lose if you're not prepared. If you do not have a plan, if you do not understand your strength, your unfair advantage, where you're going to learn from, what fits you. Is it conferences? Is it books? Is it Facebook groups? Is it texting? Is it actually meeting up with people? Really understanding that. If you do not do that, then you're counting on luck more than you do on anything else, which is a shame because you shouldn't have to.
And following on from that question, for somebody who wants to know themselves and understand what makes them tick, what methodologies have you found to be able to do that for yourself?
So first of all, there are lots of stuff on how to find your unfair advantage, what I call an unfair advantage. But basically, you go around and see what ticks you, because whatever ticks you would give you fuel to run with whatever, you know. So if you're very good with people, you want to talk to as many people as possible and see if you can get information. But it's also very important that you don't do it in a way that sounds, hears, or feels or looks like you're trying to extract information. This needs to come out of a very naive place, that, you know, because people in this industry are extremely smart. Even the stupidest people I've met with are very smart in this industry, and they can see through it, to be honest. If you're gonna play a game, know that it's you're going to lose at the end of the day. Second, you need to find for example, if you have some friend that works at an agency, if you have a family member that's very good at a specific industry, everyone has their own story, you know, and then that would potentially give you a shortcut. And then finally, once you've kind of like zoomed into what you want to do, you want to create a plan on how you're going to approach it. So the first step would be, where am I going to learn from? So if it's Facebook groups, forums, YouTube videos, courses that I'm going to buy, and that's the first step. The second step is, how do I get into a community that talks about that? So if it's e-com within a specific thing, if it's digital marketing, if it's just funnel building on ClickFunnels, if it's affiliate marketing, if it's the agency space, how do I get into and around the community that talks about it constantly? And then the final thing, you need to choose 1 to 3 people that have gone through what you want to choose. And that's where lots of people make lots of mistakes, because usually what they would do is they would choose someone who already made it, you know. And there are two different types of mistakes there. One, it's going to be very hard to approach someone who's not grinding, someone who's already you know, fed up, someone who's not thirsty, who's not hungry enough anymore. They do not have, you're probably never gonna, you know, capture that Pokemon, you know what I mean? So you're never gonna catch that Pokemon. It's the first time I use that sentence, but it's funny, but it is like that. So that's one. You don't want to choose someone like, you know, Bill Gates or Elon Musk, you know, and look up to him, because we're talking about choosing a mentor. The second thing is that understanding that when you choose a mentor, it doesn't have to be someone who teaches you on a one-to-one basis. It could be someone who's very transparent with what they do, and you can just see what they do. You can actually look up whatever path they're making. And the third thing, which is the biggest one, because we all live in a fake economy at the moment, and fake gurus are all over the place, you want to do a very, very deep due diligence. I cannot tell you how many people approach me and say, oh, they are name dropping people that I personally know, and they're saying, oh, they exited this and that amount, and they only had an affiliate business, and they're completely exploding, and they have so much money, and they're doing this and that. And I know them personally, and I know that this is like completely not true. They're maybe very good at advertising that, and they're very good with selling very good stories, which this industry is filled with very good
Very good
salesmen.
stories.
You know,
Very
I
good
felt for
storytellers.
so many people who told me this is gonna be the biggest offer ever, where it's a unicorn, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, you know, take my money. Can I run it? Can I run it? Please, 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 just let me. And it completely flopped, and the guy didn't know what he was talking about. So you really have to understand that con man comes from the expression confidence man, which should, you know, you always, like when I speak to someone, I start from a place where I think, okay, they're lying. Now let's see what's truth, what's not. And yeah, and just do a very, very deep due diligence. You want to make sure that if you're approaching the Amazon space, someone is that kind of a seller, you know. There aren't many good people, but you wanna make sure that you really dig deep and study about them before you choose them as mentors.
Excellent. Maor, our time is up. I want to respect your time. I know you're very big on respecting your own time, so thank you for what you've given us today. I really appreciate this. It's
Thank you
awesome.
for this, and I'd love to do another one someday.
Let's do it. I'm going to put your link to your book on Amazon in the description below. I've actually already got it on my Kindle. And yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate you
Thank
doing
you.
this today.
Thank you,
I'm going
John.
to stop the recording. Enjoy the rest of your day. Okay. And
Perfect.